What is up, Twins fans? Tom Fromming here from Twins Daily. Let's talk about the big news item that came out of TwinsFest. Lots of other stuff to talk about, but we're going to focus on this big news item right now. Nelson Cruz, not shocking, but it's nice to hear that the Twins and Nelson Cruz are in contact once again in trying to progress along in their contract discussion. Here, Dan Hayes of The Athletic. Just want to share a kind of key pullout from this article that he wrote. Certainly encourage you to subscribe and support The Athletic. But here's sort of the big quote on that article, which is worth your time to revisit the whole thing. But I just wanted to pull this out, that just basically mentioning that during TwinsFest, Derek Falvey mentioned that they are having active and productive discussions. And sort of the key element that Dan Hayes adds in here is that multiple sources have confirmed that the two sides have revived discussions after they previously had been involved in what one source described as a staring contest. So it sounds like basically the Twins put an offer on the table. The Cruz camp wasn't interested at all. And for a while now, that's been the case, that it's kind of stopped at that point, and it's sort of a waiting game. Now you can see where the Twins don't want to be bidding against themselves. But also, this is an important part of the club. And I'm going to share actually Derek Falvey's exact response to that question and kind of cut to the point on that. So let's get to that right now. It's kind of funny. Falvey opens up the answer to this question, which came from a fan, with about almost 3 minutes of sort of dancing around other things, but then he does definitely directly answer it. But he kind of cracks me up in his, he's very good at fully answering a question without saying a whole lot. Which is a little bit annoying from like a fan perspective, or somebody who's trying to kind of create content around the team. But it's sort of a skill that you kind of like in your GM, actually, or your president of baseball operations, I guess is his title, actually, because you don't want him always putting everything out there. But anyway, here's what he said directly addressing that question.
And to get to the Nelly question in particular, I mentioned that during the course of the offseason, a lot of uncertainty early on about universal DH, what that would mean. Obviously, given his position and the impact that would have, he and his agents have rightfully earned the opportunity to go through the offseason and think through what fits would work. He's been in a few different places over the course of time, but we've made no secret that we've continued to have dialogue and good dialogue around that. So I can say, without revealing too much beyond that, in terms of the internal conversation with Nelly and his agents, it remains active and productive on that front. So we still have a few weeks here before we get to Fort Myers, but we're really excited about the team we're going to have on the field.
So again, good news. Does it mean that a signing is impending or definite? No, certainly not. And, I know a lot of Twins fans are frustrated that this has still not happened. But again, the Twins don't really want to be bidding against themselves. If there's nobody else, if there was another team that was hot on Nelson Cruz's heels, you'd think that things would be progressing at a different pace right now. And, that DH question that Falvey mentioned, that's certainly the holdup here. We still don't know 100% sure a lot of the rules for 2021. I think it's safe to assume that we're going to kind of go back to 2019 and previous rules, that they're not going to implement any kind of special rules for this season that we had in 2020. But I mean, as long as it's not concrete solid, Cruz has some reason to wait and see if maybe that changes, because things changed after the season had already started last year. So never say never, I guess, would be the approach there. And then from the Twins standpoint, of course they would like Nelson Cruz back, but this is a guy who's 40. He's going to be 41. Despite him being, the second best hitter in baseball behind only Mike Trout the past 2 seasons. That's certainly something to be mindful of. And now that they've added Andrelton Simmons, their kind of DH picture is looking pretty good. If we assume, I don't think Alex Kirilloff, unless he signs an extension, is going to be the opening day left fielder. But if we assume he spends most of his time out there, now all of a sudden the Twins have Jake Cave, Brent Rooker, Luis Arraez available to DH, as well as whoever's not catching that day, Mitch Garver or Ryan Jeffers. So without Cruz, you have a lot of options to rotate between DH even without him. Now, of course, you prefer to have Cruz, but you could see why the Twins aren't exactly throwing him a blank check. So I do think all signs right now point to the Twins landing Cruz. That's just complete speculation on my part. But if the NL is not getting a DH, there's not going to be a whole lot of competition. Again, with those concerns the Twins have, every other team in baseball is going to have those same concerns about him, keeping up that level of productivity as a 40, 41-year-old. And then, I think there is some reason to not want to plug in a set DH and kind of use that as a rotation. So, we'll just have to continue to be patient, but this is obviously good news that the Twins are making progress. And maybe now that they have some of those spots filled, getting Jay Happ, getting Andrelton Simmons, they have some more certainty on what else they have to address. And, I expect them to make some more moves as well, but it could be maybe they're a little bit more comfortable, maybe locking in Happ at $8 million or Simmons at $10.5 million. They feel like, we had a couple extra $1 million. We were going to commit to one of those two spots, and now we can kind of kick it toward Cruz, whether that's on his 2021 salary or potentially a buyout for an option. Because Cruz also, as we've heard, it reported that he's looking for a 2-year deal. I don't think, I don't envision him getting that, but certainly it's possible for him to get an option for a second year that guarantees him some money via a buyout. Again, that's speculation. We'll just continue to keep an eye out. Thanks for checking this out. This has been Tom. We'll talk again soon.